Hi, my name is Stacey Harris. My capstone project focused on creating an instructional toolkit to support Pottery One teachers as they teach beginning wheel throwing skills. I used feedback from Pottery One teachers in my district to identify what they needed most and then use that information to develop the instructional toolkit. My project focused on beginning wheel throwing in Pottery One. In our district, the Pottery One teachers are teaching the same foundational skills, but we don't have a shared set of resources or a consistent way to teach them. This can be challenging because students need to learn several difficult skills in a short amount of time. I wanted to find out what support teachers needed and create something practical that they could actually use in their classrooms. The research question asked how a shared instructional toolkit could be developed based on the needs of Pottery One teachers to support the teaching of beginning wheel throwing skills. This question guided both my needs assessment and the development of the instructional toolkit. For this project, I used a mixed methods approach. I collected both numerical data and written responses from 5 Pottery One teachers in my district. The survey helped me identify the challenges teachers were experiencing and the types of resources they felt would be most helpful. I then used those results to guide the development of the toolkit. I collected the data using Google Forms needs assessment. The survey included both multiple choice questions and open-ended questions so teachers could share more about their experiences. I analyzed the numerical responses using descriptive statistics, including frequencies and percentages, and I reviewed the written responses for common themes to create a thematic analysis. These results helped me decide what resources to include in the toolkit. The quantitative results showed several common areas of need. In Figure 1, all 5 teachers identified centering and pulling walls as skills their students struggled with. Figure 2 makes it clear that student frustration was one of the biggest instructional challenges. Figure 3 shows that teachers were already using several resources, including demonstrations and rubrics, but they still identified additional resources would be helpful. But one of the most important outcomes of the survey showed that all 5 teachers selected a troubleshooting guide as something they would value in the instructional toolkit. Overall, the teachers felt their current resources mostly met their needs, but none felt that their needs were completely met. The written responses helped me better understand what teachers were experiencing. One of the biggest themes was student frustration and helping students understand that wheel throwing takes time, patience, and practice. Teachers also said they would like more instructional time, videos that students could watch again, and resources to help build their own knowledge. They also shared a few additional ideas like information about ordering clay and budgeting, along with historical information and real-world connections. When I looked at the quantitative and qualitative results together, the biggest finding was that teachers weren't necessarily missing resources. In fact, all 5 teachers said their current resources mostly met their needs. What they still needed was a shared and organized collection of practical resources they could easily use. The results also showed that teachers wanted support that addressed the actual challenges they see when teaching beginning wheel throwing. They wanted resources that could help with troubleshooting, pacing, demonstrations, and supporting students as they learn difficult skills. This helped answer my research question because it gave me clear direction for what the instructional toolkit should include. Instead of deciding on the resources myself, I was able to build the toolkit around the needs the Pottery One teachers actually identified. Overall, the findings showed that bringing these resources together in one organized toolkit could support more consistent instruction and also give Pottery One teachers resources they could share. Based on the results of the needs assessment, I developed a Pottery One instructional toolkit for teachers to use when teaching beginning wheel throwing. The toolkit includes a pacing guide, step-by-step lesson plans, demonstration resources, a beginning wheel throwing skill progression, a troubleshooting guide, and an assessment and progress tracking tools. I focused on practical resources that teachers could actually use in their classroom. I also created several of my own demonstration videos that teachers can use with students. These give students another way to see the skills being demonstrated and allow them to go back and watch the steps again when needed. The troubleshooting guide addresses common problems students have while learning to throw, and the pacing guide gives teachers a suggested sequence for teaching the beginning skills. I also included student checklists, progress tracking tools, so teachers can monitor individual student progress, and especially when students are learning at different rates. The goal of the toolkit is to bring these resources together in one organized place. This can save teachers planning time, give Pottery One teachers the resources they can share, and help create more consistent beginning wheel throwing instruction across the district. When I looked back at the methodology, I found both strengths and weaknesses in the way I completed the survey. One strength was that the toolkit was based directly on the needs of experienced Pottery One teachers. All 5 teachers participated, so their feedback was directly connected to the problem I was trying to address. The biggest weakness was the small sample size. I only surveyed 5 teachers for one district, so the results may not represent what Pottery 1 teachers in other districts would need. Another factor that may have influenced the results was the amount of teaching experience each teacher had. Their experience ranged from 4 to 26 years, so a newer teacher may need different types of support than someone who has been teaching pottery for many years. Overall, I felt the group gave me really useful information for developing the toolkit, but I also recognize that this was a small group with different levels of experience. Looking ahead, there are a few ways this project could be taken further. One area for further investigation would be to include more Pottery 1 teachers from other school districts. This would give a larger range of experiences and could help identify whether teachers outside of my district have similar needs. I also think teacher interviews would be helpful. The survey gave me good information, but interviews would allow teachers to explain their experiences and challenges in more detail. Moving forward, I would also like to share the toolkit with the Pottery 1 teachers and continue improving it over time. As teachers use the resources, they can share ideas, add resources of their own, and help the toolkit continue to grow based on what is working in their classrooms. Overall, this project helped me better understand what Pottery 1 teachers need when teaching beginning wheel throwing. It also gave me the opportunity to create something practical that can be shared and used in the classroom. My hope is that this toolkit will make teaching beginning wheel throwing a little easier for teachers and, most importantly, help our students be more successful at the wheel.